So welcome back. So we are going to write a Java program for this now. Next permutation. So I'm going to create one class next permutation. And in this, I'm going to create one static method. So public static. I don't have to return anything. Next permutation. And this method is going to take array of integer. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this, my first step is I have to find out the pivot element. So we start from the second last index and move left, right? So goal is to find the first element where your current element is less than the previous element. Okay, so this is the point where we can increase the number, right? So first what I have to do, I have to find the length int I equal to nums dot length minus 2, because whatever the current position, I have to compare this number with the next element. Okay, so that's why I need this. So now I'm going to start my while loop. So what I have to do, what I told you, we have to move left with the current element is greater than the next element. Okay, so you have to do this I when I is greater than or equal to 0 first, and your current element must be greater than or equal to the next element. So I'm checking here a decreasing order, I plus 1, right? Okay, so our I should be greater than the previous element, so it is going to check your descending sequence like 6 5 4, if you remember in the previous video, because we can't do much with this element where descending order exists, because this is already a largest arrangement, right? So you cannot found more than, or just greater than in any way to that element. So if this is true, then I have to do minus minus, it will continue. So after this loop, I have to check whether I have got I 0 or not. If I is greater than 0, it means we have found the element, pivot element. So I mean we have to find her, we already have found the place from where we have to increase the number. If I is less than 0, it means the entire array is descending, so it already at the max permutation. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, if I is greater than or equal to 0, then I have to do something, right? So int j, I'm going to take int j equal to nums dot length minus 1. Okay, so we are going to start from the end to find the smallest number which is greater than the nums I. Okay, so I have found the j index from the last. So what I have to do now, we have to move left until we find the element which is greater than the pivot element. This ensure that we make the smallest possible increase. Okay, so my case is that while nums j should be always less than or equal to the nums I. Okay, so last element must be less than the pivot element, and if this is happening, then you keep on j minus minus, correct? So once you got the pivot element, we are going to swap this pivot element, right? So I'm just writing one swap method. What I'm going to take in this, I'm going to take your whole array, then I, then j. I'll declare this method. So once the swap is done, so what I'm going to do, I have to reverse the right part, right? If you remember, so the if block is over here. I'm going to now reverse, and reverse is going to take your array. I have to give the start point, so I plus 1 comma endpoint nums dot length -1, because end part I have to do. Okay, so this is done. Okay, so I have to pass nums plus I plus 1 because I have to start from I plus 1 and I have to go till the last element. Okay, so let me create this method now here, and in this swap method what I'm going to write now, ing is already there, so it's a very standard one, to nums I int I got those. So nums I will going to have the value of nums j. I'm swapping, so this is done. Now in nums j I'm going to pass the I mean temp. So swap is done now. Then let me create this method also. So in the reverse now I have to do the reverse with the second half element, I mean right part. Okay, so I have to do while I is less than j. I is this kind of a start point, right? Let me call it j1. Well, let me change to start and end. This will be much better and understandable also. Start is less than end, correct? So in while condition I am going to call the swap method first. Okay, in swap I'm going to pass the nums comma start comma end, correct? Once the swap is done, then we have to move the, I mean we are doing the reverse, right? So you have to move the both pointers towards each other. If you remember, when we are going to reverse the element, two pointers left and right will be moving towards each other, and we are going to reverse the each character. Okay, so I have swapped it. Then I'm going to increase the start but reduce the end. Okay, so I think we are done with the methods, and once this is done, then item will be reversed in the nums. Okay, so this is the code for this. Okay, so what we have done in this, let me repeat again. Simply first step is that I have to find out the pivot element. So we are starting from the second last element. Okay, we are starting with the second last element and move left. So our goal is here to find out the first element where your nums I is less than equal to nums I plus 1, right? This one, and we keep doing. So because this is the point where we can increase the number, this is the pivot element. Once you got the pivot element, then now we have to move the left while current element is greater than the next element. This means we are in a descending sequence. Okay, so which is already largest element, we don't have to do anything, we just keep on decreasing the I. And once this loop is over, if I is coming as a negative or I is as a less than 0, it means you didn't find any pivot element, and that's mean your array is already in descending order, so you cannot find the next. Simply what you have to do, if you remember in the previous video, you have to reverse that complete number. Okay, so if is getting failed, then simply we are reversing the whole array. Okay, understood? So this is how we are handling the case here. So hope you understand this part. So let's see you in the next one.